Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So the word for today is prescription. And I'm not talking about the type that you get from a doctor, although I guess that is one of the styles of prescription that you might receive if you are seeking help with your feelings. I spent so many years trying to fix myself. I had this deep rooted sense that I was not okay. I've got some idea about where that came from. I think it really started after I burnt out in 2015. When I started my business in 2016, having resigned from my career as a head teacher, I stepped fully into that world of business. And the story there is very clear. The story is the story that you're told at networking meetings and events and talks and online things more and more these days, is that if you are an entrepreneur, if you are self-employed, that your business will only be successful if your mindset, if your motivation, if your drive is 100% on form. And I guess for me too, there was this sense of not wanting to go back to where I had been before. And so for me, that had been a severe adrenal fatigue, you might call it burnout probably, and that regular feeling of not being motivated. In fact, when I was really ill to the point where I didn't get out of bed till the middle of the afternoon sometimes. So there was a bit of fear, I think, around that too, around feeling, that particular feeling, not feeling like doing things. Am I getting ill again? Is it coming back? And so I embarked on this journey, and I do not regret a moment of it because it's taught me so much as I've gone along the way. And the journey went a bit like this. I would have phases where I was Mrs. Super Motivated. So I was one of those amazing business owners who was doing everything she was supposed to be doing and meeting all her targets and doing everything she should do. And then it would fall away for a while. And I would think that meant there was something wrong with me. And so then I would embark on some kind of process. That might be that I went and got help from a therapist, or that I went and did something to myself. So more meditation, some subliminal tracks, some hypnotherapy tracks, tapping, tried all sorts of different things, to be fair, over the years. And of course, I was fully invested in podcasts and books and audiobooks and written books and all sorts of things to try and help myself be that person I thought I was supposed to be. Now, all of those things I got as help, and maybe you can relate to this too, maybe you've been there too, trying thing after thing after thing to feel okay. This is kind of how they worked. So some of them worked, wow, I feel so much better. That's amazing, brilliant. But it tended not to be sustained. So I might feel amazing whilst I was doing the thing and shortly afterwards, but it would soon pass and I'd soon feel like I was going back again to where I was before. And then other things just didn't work at all. But I think like many other people, I didn't blame the tool for that. I blamed myself. I thought it was me that was not okay, not not that the tool had failed me, not that that was the wrong prescription for me, which is really strange, isn't it? Because if we have a physical illness and we get given a prescription by the doctor, something to take, if it doesn't work, we go back and say, this medication's not right for me. Now, and those medications have the wisdom of, or the science behind them, of everything to do with medication, all the science behind it, and they've been tested on the pit and all of those things. But if they don't work for us, we go back and say, don't we? It's not okay, that. It's not making me feel very good. Or it's not making me better. The thing hasn't gone away. But for some reason, when we get a prescription from the self-help world, if it doesn't work for us, we tend to blame ourselves. We don't tend to blame the prescription. We think it's us. Well, because the person who's telling us to do that thing, the person who's found the thing that worked for them, they're saying it works. They found other people it worked for too. So they've got all this backup. So it looks like it's you, doesn't it, that can't do it somehow, or hasn't done it right, or it just doesn't work for you. But it turns out that the reason that is that is somebody else's wisdom. I think it's amazing that people find things that work for them beautifully, and they share them with other people and they get really excited about it. Wow, that is just so genuinely beautiful. But the trouble is, it can be really detrimental to you if it's not the right thing for you. And I think what also happens in this seeking of a prescription, we end up with a very busy, an exceptionally busy mind. I think my mind at that point was, well, what can I do next to sort myself out? What do I need to do to fix myself? And that went on and on and on. And it filled my head up. And you know what? When your head is full, your own wisdom tends to get a little bit drowned out. Or even if you do hear it, you're like, well, yeah, but that's not what this expert said about this thing. That can't be right, because the experts say it's this, and this. But my internal wisdom is saying it's something else. So you tend not to trust it, because there's a lot of noise out there about what you're supposed to be doing to feel okay. Now, for me, the transformational journey began when I spoke to a beautiful friend of mine called Peter, who guided me to see really clearly and really quickly a description of the world and how it works. Not the external world, a description of how my internal world works. 2 basic facts. I am feeling thought in the moment all the time. 100% of the time. Never my circumstances, never other people, never the news, never the weather, never Facebook or anywhere else. Other social media platforms are available. Never any of that. I'm always feeling thought in the moment. And the other thing that I have been repeatedly pointing towards, and I point people towards too, is that you have an innate well-being, an innate wisdom, an innate inner guidance system that is there to support your journey through life. And the trouble is, when you're using a prescription created by somebody else, you're following somebody else's wisdom. That may not be the right thing for you. And the more you look in the direction of your own wisdom, your innate well-being, and how you don't see it sometimes, that's all we're talking about here. I'm talking about the fact that you have innate well-being, and then you have a noisy head and you can't see it all the time. It's really that simple. The quieter you become, the more likely you are to hear what is the right next best thing for you to do. And I have noticed more and more in my life that means I do things that there's a little bit of me going, are you sure? But I'm tending to trust. This feels like the next right thing for me. This is my wisdom guiding me. I've got this description of how the world works, And that is helping me to hear my own wisdom and take my next step. That's what we all need, I think, is the description, not the prescription. Not somebody else's wisdom, but a means to connect to our own wisdom, which is always there, all the time. So all the invitation here to do is to notice that. You know, if you're embarking on lots of different things to help yourself and you're noticing that some of those are not helpful and not working, but you're carrying on because you think you should, then maybe just look at that and maybe find some quiet time and see what comes up for you to do next in this moment for you and for your well-being. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.